Newman Springs Publishing Company introduces Sharon Udy Storrs, author of Return to Me, as read by Jered Page and Benjamin Eule. About the author. Sharon Udy Storrs is a retired teacher who has a love for writing and has had a goal of writing a book for years. However, her dream had to be postponed while she taught full-time and raised her 6 wonderful children, whom she attributes as her greatest achievement in life. Her love of history and curiosity about how Stalin, Mussolini, Hitler, and the Japanese Empire played their parts in the war were the driving forces behind her writing the book. However, her greatest inspiration was her Aunt Ruth, who was a nurse in World War II. The story is centered around Sharon's hometown in Idaho, where she grew up. She now resides in Utah with her husband, with her married children and grandchildren living nearby.
Chapter 1. There are towns, and then there are other towns. The demography of its inhabitants creates the makeup, fabric, and emotional stature of the town. Just as one walks into an old empty house, a person can feel the spirits of those who once lived there. This illusion causes the curious intruders to wish that the walls of the house could speak, to let them know of the generations of people who lived there, of their struggles and their joys. How had they endured the trials they encountered? And had they enjoyed the good times? Did they accomplish their goals and fill their dreams? What became of the children who once climbed the apple tree and played in the swing, now broken and dangling in the breeze? A small doll is found lying in one corner of the house. Who was the little girl who held her in her arms and cradled her there? Well, just as a house possesses a story, a town has its story as well, starting with the history of its settlement and who the first residents were. What had they sacrificed and endured to occupy this location? What elements did they overcome to tame the wild frontier and enable them to build a desirable community? In this little town, the original settlers had to clear off sagebrush before they were able to grow crops to sell and provide a living. They had to plant hay and grain to feed the animals that would be fattened and slaughtered to provide food on their table. It required determination and sheer grit to turn this desert land, thickly matted with sagebrush, into crops that could provide a living, turning a desert into a rose and transforming it into a desirable place to raise a family. Rural America is dotted with such towns, in valleys, tucked between mountain ranges, wherein lies the soul of the country. We find ourselves in such a town nestled among the Rocky Mountains, aligned by whispering willows. The population of the town hovers around 200 on a good day. What the town lacks in population, its inhabitants make up with care.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?